Look, I got to ask you guys a favor. I'm being completely serious. You guys ask me all the time, hey, how often do you get to Atlantic City? How often do you do Foxwoods Casino? How often are you in West Hampton? Here's the deal. If you don't go, I only get to do it once. If you sell it out, I get to go every year. Borgata Casino, June 7th. Need you guys to rally. Come on, Philly, Jersey, surrounding areas, Atlantic City. This is a makeup date from the hurricane last year. Those tickets will be honored, okay? June 8th, Foxwoods Casino, Connecticut, Boston. Represent. Come see me June 8th at the Foxwoods Casino. Again, these are big rooms. If you guys don't come, we don't get asked back. You know what I mean? June 9th. This is the one I'm a little nervous about. West Hampton Beach, WHBPAC. I don't even know what that stands for, so it gives me agita. Are you going to sell that out for me? WHBPAC in West Hampton Beach. That's June 9th. That's the one I'm going. I don't know how many people are going to be in West Hampton that are going to want to come see a show. You know what that stands for? West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center, June 9th. Please come and see me. I would love it. You can get the cheap tickets and just fill the balcony, and I'll make you laugh either way. Now, sorry to bore the hell out of you with my stand-up dates, but again, these are big rooms, and I'm asking you a favor. If you guys don't come, I don't get asked back, and I want to see you guys over and over and over again.
Very excited about Hulu Plus. I mean, I've been streaming shows on my PC on Hulu.com. You know what? You got to get a free trial of Hulu Plus. That's what's up. That's what's up. Hulu Plus is what's up. Total control. Watch thousands of shows whenever you want, wherever you want. Use Hulu Plus on connected TVs, game consoles, Blu-ray players, Roku, Apple TV, PC, or watch from anywhere on your smartphone or your tablet on demand at all times. Can you imagine sitting down right now watching Sanford and Son on your phone? Whatever you're doing right now, you just look down at your phone, you're watching Sanford and Son. That's what Hulu Plus does. It's cool. They got Community, Modern Family, South Park, SNL, Monday Night Raw. You know what I'm saying. They got all the shows in the world. I can name a whole bunch of shows, but you get the idea. Hulu Plus is what's up. $7.99 a month. Right now they're offering an extended free trial of Hulu Plus. That is only for the More Stories listeners. It's for you guys. Take control of your TV watching experience. Go to jmohr.com, click the Hulu Plus banner for your extended free trial, or go to huluplus.com/JAY. Hulu Plus banner is at jmohr.com. Click it. Get involved, my man. Hulu Plus is what's up. huluplus.com/JAY. Hulu Plus. It's awesome.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game change.
Donuts.
If you want a battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Welcome back, my friends. More Stories, episodes, hundreds, something. Duff Mckagan, hanging in there. This is good. Rarely do you get to talk into a mic or sitting down. You're probably up with your foot up on the monitor.
It is a little strange.
Is it really?
Yeah, my foot up on the monitor. I did that in like yeah.
But
I don't do that.
That's what I would do. Now, what do? You like kind of lay back away from, you get out of the cut a little bit, lay back?
Well, you know, like especially now with internet and photos and YouTube, and you see yourself, and I like there's so many videos and pictures of me in like the 2 years when things were awful for me, like 92, 93, awful. And that's when most of the pictures were taken of me. And a lot of those are like the foot up on the...
Was that just so you wouldn't fall down?
Probably. You know, like, who knows what the hell I was doing, but yeah, like in the clothing.
I heard you're really like actually lucky to be alive. Would you agree with that assessment?
I'm fortunate that, I was taken to the hospital. At the time, I was taken to the hospital.
Anything you don't like, by the way, we pull it immediately on the spot. So I don't want you to get like, what the fuck?
No.
You guys were touring. I think you guys were with Sebastian Bach's band.
Skid Row.
Yeah, and Snake Sabo is a good dude.
Yeah.
And he said you like hit your head in Germany or something.
Yeah.
Does any of this ring a bell?
Yeah.
But the doctors in Germany were like, forget his head. We don't know how he's alive. His blood alcohol level is so, like, we've never seen this before.
That's a fact.
That's amazing.
I was knocked out by this guy. We had a security guy with us, and we were at this really nice dinner that Sony had for us at this restaurant in Berlin or Munich or something. And nice dinner. And one of our security guys was doing steroids, like anabolic steroids. And sometimes you'd see him kind of snap. But he was my bro, you know, like. But what at this dinner, Ronnie, this guy, our friend, this guy was with us, our security guy.
Hold on. Do you want that pulled?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
I got your back, is all I'm saying.
And I was, can we swear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was fucking with him, like, but not in any overt way. And he snapped. He had one of his snaps, and he headbutted me, and I got knocked out.
A headbutt from a guy you're paying.
Yeah, we were paying him, and he's a big guy, and he had butted me right in the temple. That's all I remember seeing his forehead coming, and then I was out, and then I was in the hospital, and apparently I wasn't even drunk. I mean, my standards of being drunk.
Standard drunk.
We were just at dinner.
You weren't Duff drunk.
No,
you weren't show drunk.
No. Show drunk was just getting straight. There's all kinds of levels here. Like me really being drunk and out of sort of control, that was way after the show. That was like the next morning,
Sun
probably.
coming up.
Yeah.
What, like, when you take this stage back in the day, Guns N' Roses, what, because I know how much I drank, and I know, but stand-up comedy, you can't, there's a whole thing with timing, and like, an incredible amount of timing with bass, but at least there's like that Marshall stack to sort of, with drums and everything around you to sort of cushion the blow if you fuck up.
Yeah. Playing bass, it's all the kick drum. That's what I would always follow. Even when I wasn't thinking about it, that's what I'd follow, the kick drum. And I knew when I was a little bit too drunk if I had to concentrate on following the kick drum, right? And I remember one show, I was never a guy who got too drunk to play, ever. I would get sort of straight and would play. And in like 92, 93, my level of alcohol intake was at such a place, and I didn't get drunk on a fifth. A fifth was nothing. That didn't get me drunk. That got me straight. Maybe.
Right, straight.
Maybe.
So you'd start drinking like Lysol and Cepacol.
No, I could afford the better stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Right, yeah. I didn't have to go
those
for
of us buying tickets to watch you. We had to drink Cepacol.
Well, whatever.
We spent all our money on tickets.
Yeah. But, I remember one gig in Mexico City, and it was a huge, huge gig. And suddenly it was time to play, and I was a little wobbly. And I had to sit up and look at Matt's kick drum the whole show. And that was one of my last straws that I really tried to stop drinking or taper it down, but I just couldn't get the knack of it.
So the guy headbutts you in Germany. You go to a German hospital.
Yeah, and
did that bodyguard apologize to you ever?
Yeah. He stayed up with me for the next 2 nights because you can't go to sleep for more than.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So
they
bad.
Keep you awake.
Yeah. And I knew the best way to keep myself awake, and so did Sebastian Bach, which made complete sense to me. Yeah, I'll be awake, and we won't have to worry about waking me up every hour.
Let's go. Yeah.
But yeah, Ronnie had to stay up with me, and
that was his penance.
That was
you did this, Ronnie.
He felt awful. But they took me to the hospital, and the doctor. For whatever reason, they took blood, and they did a thing, and they could smell alcohol, and they did, I guess, a blood alcohol test level thing right then and there, and they said he should be dead. But I wasn't even drunk, and that's the point. And so I had to stay up. I had a concussion-ish type of thing.
Sebastian knew how to keep you up.
Yeah. Hey, dude, I got some blow.
He talks like that all the time, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Him and Richie Sambora are the two. Like, you are a human being. Like, I've met you, like, at our kids' school.
yeah.
And we've had conversations at a Starbucks and stuff. But, like,
Yeah.
guys like Sebastian Bach, Richie Sambora, those are, like, the two guys when you meet them. They're like, all right, all the time, man. Hey, buddy, I'll leave you tickets and we'll go, JJ. You got it, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Sebastian is still like that. I see him all the time. And one thing about him, he's genuine. Like, it's the real deal.
He's a rock star.
Yeah. I mean, what you see on stage, that
It's
doesn't
18
change.
It's 18 in life to go.
Yeah.
He's to be admired. I love it. When I was on Saturday Night Live, I was
Yeah.
at a bar with a date, and he was there with his wife, and she was super pregnant, and he apparently had eyes for my date, and he kept going, hey, man, flipping his hair around. He goes, your girl and my girl tonight. And his wife's literally, like, drinking club soda with lime as he's getting pie-eyed with me. And he just said it all, your girl and my girl tonight. And she's 9 months pregnant. It's the craziest. Like, this guy really knows how to ball. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how diverse your music is. Like, Seattle, I don't know if the average Guns N' Roses fan listening or Velvet Revolver fan knows you were like a punk guy, like in Seattle. Like,
Yeah.
you were in the Farts and you were in, like, 10-Minute Warning. Like, you were a super punk guy.
Yeah.
And from what I've read, I just ingest music history and presidential history, but it seems to me you were like the one that got away in the grunge scene. Like, when you went to Guns N' Roses, guys in the grunge scene would see you in LA and they'd be like, he's in a butt rock band. What the fuck? Duff?
Yeah.
Like, fucking Duff? Duff Fart?
But the thing is, yes, right. I never got the Fart last name. There was Blaine Fart,
And
and
Loud
there was
Fart.
Loud Fart
On
of
drums.
course. Yeah,
Two
Then
drummers.
Paul Soldier on guitar. Didn't
It's great. But you know
Yeah.
what? Good name, though. Like Johnny Thunders,
Yeah,
Paul
yeah.
Soldier.
Paul Soldier?
Good name.
Yeah, really good name. But my name was Duff, and it just kind of worked. It worked
Yeah.
for punk rock. So, yeah, I was maybe year and a half, 2 years older than the rest of, like, the Alice in Chains guys, or like a year and a half. So I left just a little bit earlier. Heroin came into Seattle in about '82, and really just decimated the whole scene. Guys in my band, we were signed to Jello's label.
Was
Alternative.
that before Uzi or after Uzi?
This was 10-Minute Warning. We were signed to Alternative Tentacles, which was Jello Biafra's from Dead Kennedy's label.
Yeah.
We were slated to be the next kind of thing,
Right.
and the Heroin came into that band and just decimated my band. And I was left there, kind of like in '84 at 19, going, "Well, what now?" Everybody's strung out, and so I came to LA, September of '84. And met Slash pretty much within the first week. And Izzy moved across the street, met Axel and Steven. We started that band like,
And it's weird,
boom.
like, everyone's from, like, Indiana. Like, Izzy's from Indiana.
Axel's from
like-
Indiana.
Yeah, like, everyone's from, like, the Midwest. You're from Seattle.
Yeah.
Like, so you're the only guy, like, with, like, actual, I would say, a music pedigree just because of location.
Right.
Like, where it was every bar had,
Yeah.
10-minute warning, and
Soundgarden had started up by
TSOL,
then.
and then
Yeah.
like there was all these punk bands just going, and then you guys would just try to open for them and get your time and get out of there.
Yeah.
And then you meet up with these guys like from Indy. Like, what are the odds? 3 out of the 5 guys in Guns N' Roses are from Indiana.
Well, it turned out, so it's a small
William
world.
Bailey
Yeah.
is from Indiana.
Yeah. And it turned out Izzy, it was just sort of that small world thing. Izzy moved across the street from me in Hollywood. He and I started talking. He was down at the phone booth across the street in this like crappy street we lived on. And I saw him, and he looked like Johnny Thunders. He looks like Johnny Thunders.
just like
And
him.
I'm like, hey, dude, I like Johnny Thunders. Probably didn't say that, but I feel like, my life in... if I look back at it, I was dumb at every turn of my life. But I came up to Izzy and to Izzy, and we started talking. And our punk bands had played a gig together 2 years prior in Hollywood when I was on one of my tours. And
What was his punk band?
They were called the Naughty Women, and they were cross dressers.
Oh, it was real short. It was real short-lived Naughty
Yeah,
Women.
yeah.
They used to get in fights with the audience all the time.
Yes,
They had like 2 months of gigs.
Yeah, Wow, you know.
Yeah.
They dressed as women.
Yeah, and you had to like literally swing mic stands like get the fuck away, like it was crazy.
Yeah, and we played. I was in 10 Minute Warning, and we played with Di and somebody else at the Cathay de Grande and the Naughty Women, and Izzy played drums in that band.
You guys all played. Everybody played each other's instruments at some point. This whole band is like a really. I don't know Axel's. I don't know if he can play.
He plays piano.
Like I personally. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I get very sad when the lead singer puts on a guitar. Like when Mick Jagger puts up a guitar to do "Miss You," I'm like, no, we're good, bro. Like when Perry Farrell puts it on to do "Jane Says" or "Obvious," I'm like, no, we don't need it, bro. You're good.
Yeah.
Like any band, like the lead singer of Live, I'm like, no, don't do that. Just do "I Alone." Let them play. Pre-record something. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But everybody in Guns N' Roses, like you played drums, you played bass, you played guitar, and then Axel actually can play guitar, piano. You're saying, and Izzy, everybody played everybody's instruments.
Well, I think it helps, like when you're in your teenage years, and people ask me like, what did you do? What do I do with my youngster to be a musician? Or like a kid will ask me. It's always good to know how to play at least sort of other things. And I grew up in a big family. I was the last of 8 kids, and there was instruments around our house.
Yeah.
And so, like being the youngest, I was made to keep time. Go keep time, or go play guitar. Here's 3 chords, practice them. Now play those chords, or play bass. And it really helped, especially in Guns, where we were writing these songs together, and it really helped to know, for me as a bass player, to know what was in his head as a drummer.
Now you know that was a fool's errand.
Well, yeah, not in it. That's why I said as a drummer.
Right. You got to be pretty high to get kicked out of Guns N' Roses by Guns N' Roses.
It was.
Think of it this way.
Yeah.
You were someone's interventionist. Like as high as you were like, Steven, you have a problem.
It was.
It's like murderists yelling at rapists in jail. Like you're weirder than us.
It was heartbreaking, really, because we had this line, that you didn't cross, and that was about being a musician. And like I said, I never got too drunk to play. Like there was a line that you didn't cross, and people think of our band in retrospect as these crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's how
which we were, but we were musicians first.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
when did that start to? When did the exchange rates start to disintegrate, or at least start to switch hands? When did the scales start to tip? Because you guys started coming out later and later, making crowds wait. Right? Maybe Axel just did it. But you guys are probably ready to go on.
Yeah.
And this is me talking. Lead singer syndrome kicks in. When does that? When does that start going on?
I know for me, like I said, I would get myself to be loose, and that was something I was used to doing since I was like 16.
Yeah.
Just getting. Once I got sober at 30, I thought my life as a musician would be over because I couldn't drink, and how am I supposed to get loose before a gig? Yeah. And I found out soon that was the dumbest thing ever. Like my first sober gig, I played better and felt more comfortable.
What was your first sober gig?
It was at the Viper Room with Steve Jones from the Pistols.
Yeah, this is a crazy. The Outsiders?
Neurotic Outsiders. Great band. Really good time. Yeah.
You guys kicked Billy Idol out, and Steve. You kicked it like they were in it, and then they were out of it.
No. We'd have guest singers. We played every like Monday at the Viper Room, and that's how the band kind of got started.
Right.
We played
the Neurotic Outsiders.
Neurotic Outsiders.
Yeah. So you, Steve Jones, like already you're like in fantasy camp as far as rock and roll goes.
Yeah.
And you're probably looking over on the side of the stage going, it's fucking Steve Jones.
Yeah, no, he's my idol.
And
really.
So Billy Idol and his guitarist.
Well, okay, so it's kind of incestuous, all of music, it really is.
Sure.
I was in kind of writing songs with Billy Idol and Steve Stevens up at my house. I had a studio at my house in Hollywood Hills. And then this Neurotic Outsiders thing started. Idol came and sang with us a couple times. We had like Billy Idol sang with us one Monday, and then Iggy the next Monday.
Well, I never got a call for that.
Brian Setzer came and played with us.
I'm ready.
I'm sorry, Jay.
I'm ready to go.
You didn't get the call.
I got the boiler. I look like Gibby up there with the big gut. I'm ready to go.
We had Sporty Spice came and sang "God Save the Queen."
Now you're making it worse.
Yeah. But we had all these.
She's the one that can really sing.
She was killer.
Yeah, she can actually sing.
She jumped into the audience and she was punk rock. She could sing.
She can crush it up.
But I missed something here, didn't I? Back to the
when
did
I
it
go all over the place,
get too much? It got too much.
You never crossed the line as a band. Steven crossed the line. Like how you said you guys, the music always came first. When as a band, maybe not just Steven, but when as a band did that start to erode a little? And when did you all start to cross the line at some point?
Well, yeah, I'll speak for myself. I do best when I do that.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So to get loose, it would be, you go on stage, we're headlining, so your stage time is 9. And that's what you're used to. So I'd get myself throughout the day. It's okay, 9 o'clock, I'm ready to play. In all ways, right? And if you're not going on till 10, well, you got to kind of keep that. It's like a sport, trying to keep that level so you're totally good by the time you hit the stage. You're playing to a lot of people. You don't want to feel less than good. It's like going out and playing football, like NFL stage is big and you want to feel exactly right. You wonder how those guys, how do they feel exactly right at 1 p.m. on Sunday?
Drugs.
How do they feel that good?
Steroids. They do
imagine
steroids and they headbutt you in the face.
Right. Imagine if they push the game back till, suddenly now it's at 3, guys.
Well, what would happen to make that just plumbing, something, security? Paul McCartney showed up. He wants to meet everybody. Like just weird, random shit happens on the road that pushes the time of the show. But Axl's late.
Yeah, maybe some,
Yeah, I'm not. And by the way, during this whole time, you don't need to air anybody out because I think it's pretty much only one of you has cornrows.
Right. So, for whatever reasons, we started to go on. Sometimes not until midnight. Or 1. And so I would...
Crowds love that.
They love it, yeah. It's a great one.
Especially after seeing Metallica.
Oh, my gosh. America. What a country. You don't believe me? As Yakov Smirnoff. His whole act was, what a country. You know why? Edison, Henry Ford, Steve Jobs. What about you? Are you an innovator? Are you a dreamer? You got to get LegalZoom.com. If you got an invention... Are you an entrepreneur? You got to protect yourself. LegalZoom.com is celebrating innovation by helping you launch your dream. I launched my dream. I got my own podcast. We're doing it. Apply for a patent to secure your invention. Register your trademark to protect your products and services. Incorporate or form an LLC and launch your business dream. Just call or visit LegalZoom.com and they're going to take care of you from start to finish. They've already helped about 1 million businesses get started, right? How about you be 1,000,001? How do you do it? Easy. LegalZoom.com. And for the referral code, type in my last name, MOHR. Celebrate innovation with LegalZoom.com. For a limited time, get a special price on trademark, copyright, patent applications. Just type in my last name, you guys, MOHR. Protect your creations, launch your dream. LegalZoom.com can provide self-help services at your specific direction, or they can connect you to an attorney. But they're not a law firm. They're LegalZoom.com. Don't forget to type in MOHR.
I'm asking you so many questions at once.
Yeah.
We got like an hour. And I'm such an audiophile of all the things that you've done. Following Metallica, it seems to me, I think you guys could do it at like 89. I think like that's perfect when you guys went on tour with Metallica.
Yeah. That was actually, I think it was like 92.
I'm saying I think you could have done it in 89.
Right.
And like right after Appetite when it was just bananas. Did you, in that tour, it just seemed to be like the pendulums going 2 separate ways with 2 monster bands. Was there an energy when you guys were on stage?
No, it wasn't.
Let me make
then.
it a much shorter question, a little more.
Go ahead.
It seems like it'd be really fucking hard to follow Metallica.
Indeed, I think it at that point in 92 or 3 or whenever it was, we were switching off every night. So we call it it was a co-headlining tour. Frankly, they probably wanted to go on first for a ton of reasons. They go on time.
I always want to go on first.
Yeah, totally.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, totally. And but it never felt like, because those audiences who were there, nobody left when somebody else went on, and so I didn't necessarily feel it then. I think it was a pretty bold move by both bands to do that.
Yeah.
But going on after, especially like now, you don't want to go on after Metallica. And even 92, you probably didn't want to go on, but it was like, we were kind of a bold band. Like, we didn't give a fuck about what anybody else thought. It's like, we just wanted to do something cool. And that was cool. And we got different bands to fill in the opening slots. We got Motorhead. We tried to get Body Count for LA.
Yeah.
And that was when the Fuck the Police.
Yeah.
Cop Killer
and all that stuff. Yeah.
And they were banned from playing LA. So we tried to get them to play.
And how ironic is it? Ice-T had an album, Freedom of Speech, just watch what you say.
Yeah.
And then he's banned from doing gigs.
Yeah.
You toured with, obviously, Guns N' Roses. All right, you did like the Farts, and you do 10-minute warning. Like, that's the club scene, putting up flyers yourself. Guns N' Roses, incarnations of things right before Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses hits. It's banana. You're the biggest thing. You are actually the biggest band in the world. So you've done that tour where you've ridden the rocket and you've been like right there when it's going on. Then that ends. Then like theater tour, Jane's Addiction, or like a festival tour with like Jane's Addiction. Did you tour with Jane's Addiction? Or just a couple gigs?
Did some shows with them. Velvet Revolver did,
and then Velvet Revolver. That was the other thing I'm gonna say, which is like that's almost like the All-Star game.
Yeah.
In like basketball, like I look to my left, I Matt's back there and Slash is over here, and I got this guy and there's Scott Whelan. Is it as a fan just on the outside looking in? I think there must be like completely different energies in those three. Just those three bands must be three different galaxies. I would think Jane's Addiction be a little more like. Now, I don't even know how to explain. You explain it. Is it? Am I?
Well, Jane's, like I came into Jane's 25 years. Those guys were a band for 25 years.
So there was a good vibe. Because when I saw them like in 89, 90, 92, like it was malevolent. Like there was a sense of like Perry's going to tell us to take the embassy and we're going to have to take the embassy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's all go down the wharf tonight and start a riot.
Yeah.
Riot. And the echo never stops. You're just tripping your eyes out like, let's go fucking do it. Perry said so.
Yeah.
And they didn't like each other. It was so palpable.
Yeah. I saw them in, I was fortunate enough to be Guns N' Roses and Jane's Addiction started at the exact same time in Hollywood. So I got to see them in front of 10 people, and they were that first record, Jane's, from day one.
Those Crazy Roxy shows where everything's on Echo forever.
Music Machine in West LA and just the Scream downtown, and
I had all bootlegs from all those, and I had all like you guys got too big. By the time anybody bootlegged you guys, the ones that I bought on like St. Mark's Place in New York, you guys were already Guns N' Roses. It was still great and fun, but it wasn't like you said 10 people in Ottawa and Perry's got the flu and he's like, I hope the Macho Man beats Hulk Hogan tonight. Just falling in love with his pedals and fucking up his voice, and you're like, what's going on?
Where's that echo coming from?
This is incredible. Is there an echo?
Is that just him?
This guy's magical.
He's like a unicorn.
He threw wine on us.
He's like a centaur.
He is a centaur.
Yeah.
So the different energies. Guns N' Roses, you built it from the ground up with guys that you met at payphones. So that has to be the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, and writing those songs, and every band has really got the greatest feeling. But being in your early 20s and
you did write a lot of the songs. Because David Lee Roth sat where you're sitting, and he said, bassists are exceptional songwriters because the rhythm for playing bass is he said bass playing is it just formulaically it lends itself. He gave examples of like guys bassists that write all the songs. Like,
he's probably thought this out way more than anybody else. David Lee Roth probably has.
Yeah, I think he thinks a lot about everything, just so he can't be cut short in a discussion at all. He's talking to us about Buddhist monks and stuff. He's asking me questions about comedy. It was pretty intense at times, where I was like, He was trying to convince me that all
it's timing, bro. You know.
Yeah, he was
good joke.
He was telling me all. He was really wanted to tell me that all comedy comes from pain, and I was like, Palisades are pretty nice. I don't know, man. I don't think I've ever been funnier. It's pretty fucking sweet on the side of the hill. But then he told some story like, I was with monks, man, and I was like, is there laughter in heaven? You know what I mean? And they stared at me, and just. It was very odd. It was very odd stories. But anybody that wants to talk to Buddhist monks about how stand-up comedy works is a guy you got to talk to. Yeah. It's fascinating. Anywho.
Yeah.
I don't think bassist, Bruce, what's the drummer, bassist name from Iron Maiden? Bruce Harris?
No, that's Bruce Dickinson's the singer. Steve Harris.
Steve Harris. Like, he writes all the Iron Maiden songs. Yeah. All of it, stem to stern. So I just wanted people to know my man Duff Mckagan is fucking putting pen and paper out there in Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
What if your website stinks? Nobody's going to want to do business with you. That's why you got to use Squarespace, guys. Squarespace includes hosting, analytics, 24/7 support, even includes a free domain name when you sign up for a year. Get a cool website, get a blog, get a portfolio, get an online store. Squarespace takes care of all the technical stuff so you can focus on making great, cool content for your website. With responsive design, your website automatically scales to fit perfectly on every device. Every Squarespace template has its own customized mobile view. $8 a month for the standard plan, $16 for the unlimited plan, $24 for the unlimited plan, and an online store. That's nice. Sell stuff, commerce, get paid. For a free trial, free. You like that word? I like it. For a free trial, you guys, squarespace.com. When you're ready to purchase, click enter an offer code under pricing at checkout and use the offer code J6. My name, Jay, and the number 6. That's for 10% off, too. Or go to fakemustache.com, click on the Squarespace banner. Everything you need to create an exceptional website. Squarespace.
That's all. What were we talking about?
I don't know. The energy. So
yeah,
the energy of
real easy. Sorry, bro.
The energy of Jane's is definitely the 25 years of stuff they've gone through. And if you're walking in, like me, I walked into a garage here in the Palisades, as a matter of fact, for the first writing sessions, and there was like, okay, and I recognize it. I'm a professional musician and band guy, and being a band guy means you know how to dissect people, a group of people, 4 or 5 people.
There's the alpha,
right? And there's the guy, and how are we going to make this work together? Can it work? And Jane's was those guys are like live. I played gigs with them, and it was so like, oh, this is what Jane's is. This is a live band. These guys actually shouldn't even talk, you know, like. But they're good friends. I don't mean it like that.
No, we know what you meant.
Yeah. Like,
it's just wasted energy.
It's weird, like, seeing those guys trying to communicate.
So even live now, is there, I haven't seen them in 20 years, but is there still that sense of, like, that odd, like, coming on the mountain, and is that odd malevolence?
It's real.
And, like, Ted just admitted, and all the Nothing Shocking songs are just off the charts.
In 3 days, like, it's just
you see people turn into, like, werewolves. People that are, like, not really into it. Mm-hmm. You can pull clips off of YouTube. There's a show of them at, like, UC Santa Barbara doing, it's like a noon show right when Nothing Shocking came out, and they played Ted Just Admit It. Perry takes his dick out, and it's a bunch of guys with mullets and baseball hats, everything you railed against in Seattle, and everything Nirvana, and everybody was like, these are the guys we don't want at our shows.
Yeah.
Man, that song's like 11 minutes long. They play once, and like 4 minutes in, people start kind of looking around with that weird look in their eye, man. Yeah. And then right when it's dun, 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 like people just turn into werewolves, and they're doing cartwheels and backflips. Like all those guys are just like, they succumb. Yeah. It's like the undertow.
They're a primal band. It's primal, and that's what hits the guy with the mullet and the backwards baseball hat. And, you know, it does, and it's real. So being in that band, yeah, it's different because I wasn't with them for 25 years. I came in, you know, 3 years ago, like going, okay, hey, guys, let's write a dark and dangerous record, you know.
Here are my ideas.
Yeah, here's my ideas.
That's the worst guy,
Now listen to me. Please don't interrupt. Just let me have my
I've here's
none
a
of that
series-
actually happened.
Here's
like
a
that.
series of sketches I did with an Asian man at the Santa Monica Pier.
And
of
David
the
Lee
band.
Roth. Yeah.
So you meet in a garage in the Palisades, and you meet all the guys. Now, is their conversation with each other? Is it one where is it like double Dutch, where you don't even know where you would chime in because their communication is so algebraic?
It's they can just look at each other and there was full sentences and of course I've known those guys for all this time. Some of them better than others, but it was really I hate to use this corny. It was an honor to go in and I got to go play Rock in Rio in Madrid. They have one with those guys, and I played in Antwerp, another big show, and played some shows like around town here. Played some other gigs.
You guys played small gigs here, didn't you?
Roxy and with the people swinging on the chains. It was killer.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And because they're swinging, and the Roxy's a low ceiling, and I'm a tall guy, and this girl's swinging. She's hooked up to chains like through her back and whatever else, and another guy's like pushing her, but I gotta play. So I'm watching this thing, and it's like this chick swinging, and I gotta kind of like watch. So
if you're not dodging shoes, you're dodging bottles filled with piss.
Yeah.
Or you're dodging chicks on chains.
I didn't dodge a bottle full of piss too well, and a couple gigs got hit.
I like everything you write too. Seattle Weekly, you write good stuff.
Thanks.
And I like the thing about the 10 things you learned about doing the festivals.
Oh right,
over the summer. It was funny. You said
bottles of piss.
People in Europe have perfected the art of pissing in bottles and throwing it at the stage. And guys that are used to looking for shoes, don't look for shoes so much.
No,
look for bottles of piss. They're coming at you.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I've been playing those shows in England, those big festivals, since the late '80s. So I knew, like, the guys before me would tell me, like, "Hey, mate, watch out for the bottles of piss." Like they had, like the roadies have been doing Donington since whenever, the early '80s.
And the lineups of these gigs, you said in the Rolling Stone article that you wrote, it was like Bryan Adams. And it was
PIL. Yeah, we're doing a gig.
Public Image Limited. Like, it's the craziest lineups. It's just time. It's just the craziest lineups that they have.
Yeah, there's really good. Like, you can go to some festivals, especially in kind of, all over Europe, and you'll get like, wow, I want to see John Spencer Blues, and I want to see.
Well, you say there was 4 bands you saw all in one day, and it ended with John Spencer Blues.
Oh yeah, it was Pistols.
So the Sex Pistols.
Yeah. John Spencer Blues. Oh, John Cale.
Yeah.
And the Gutter Twins, which is Mark Lanigan and Greg Dooley from Afghan Wigs and Screaming Trees.
Lanigan's as good as it gets.
Good as it gets.
Yeah.
And Gutter Twins are as good as it gets. And I saw all those bands
in one day. Like in one sitting, that's your entertainment dollar.
It was great.
And here, like Coachella, it's like bullshit. Oh, I like Black Keys. They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Right.
But no one's going to like rip your fucking eyes out.
Yeah.
And feed them to you.
Yeah.
They've mastered that over there.
Just seems that they get it. The bands are more like a guy like yourself, you seem to know about punk rock to all kinds of other stuff. You could go to a festival there and go, no fucking way, they're playing here, and
Cannonball Adderley,
whatever,
Que paso?
And something, and what TSOL? They're still together. They're playing.
Very, very difficult to time your mushrooms to festivals like that.
Probably,
it's much easier. Like when the Lollapalooza Incarnations came by,
and
it would get shitty, and you're like, you know what? I'm just choosing ministry. I'm choosing ministry.
Right.
Or like,
yeah.
Like, and then one of your friends would be like, what about In Living Color? Like, no, nobody wants to peak during In Living Color. What's wrong with you? They go 1 second. Like, you have like panic attacks over which band and when to time it out. And you're like, it was easy when Jane's was headlining. Because you go, oh, we'll just go then. But then it just got a little, like 311. I don't want to see 311 at all, let alone high. I don't really not want to see 311. So Jane's Addiction, incredible energy, raw. It's all, I guess, is it what's the difference between Guns N' Roses? Like Guns N' Roses, you guys were there is a bit of grunge in Guns N' Roses, and you got to take some credit for that. But it's also, there's a bit of Sonic, there's a bit of the Stooges, there's a bit of all that MC5 and all. There's a bit of New York punk in there too. Like you can hear a little Voivod and stuff. Like there's influence of all that stuff because I think that's what all you guys were always listening to and what you aspire to. But then when you came together, you became this beautiful summer of 1988.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, down the shore, I got this album. You guys are gonna blow. It's gonna be great.
There's no way in hell. Like when we made Appetite. Like we signed a deal. We signed a deal that let us. We wouldn't have signed any other kind of deal. We signed a deal that let us do the record our own way.
Well, what happens if that deal falls through? What was
We didn't care because it was really like, this is us, and we're not gonna just to try to be commercial or whatever. Our band was too fuck you to ever try to be commercial.
But isn't that the grand irony of music? Is the bands that are the most fuck you are the one, like in my lifetime, Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, like Pink Floyd didn't give a shit about a single. Like nothing's more commercial than the Wall tour. Like there's two separate guys doing Pink Floyd tours. They're both netting $100 million apiece.
Yeah.
God forbid they get together.
God forbid.
Zeppelin never gave a shit about it. Like all the bands that were like, fuck you, we do it the way we want.
Yeah.
Like those are the ones that had somehow landed the biggest hits of my lifetime.
I think, like the timing of our first record of Appetite and, like you said, the summer of 88. It actually came out the summer of 87. It took a year for the world to kind of like...
Well, I was born premature, so I didn't get it in time.
But it did. It took a year. That record, we just toured to 7 people for a year, like...
Who'd you open for when nobody knew who you were?
The Cult, Iron Maiden.
That's a band you
Motley
don't want to go on after. You don't want to go, if you had to go on after Motley Crue, Iron Maiden, or the Cult.
Before.
No, I'm saying if you had to go on after any of those three, name which ones would be easiest to hardest.
Oh, I don't think you'd want to go on after...
the hardest is...
Iron Maiden.
Yeah, no question.
Because they have those fans. All those bands have their fans, though.
Yeah, and they got like a giant puppet. Eddie comes out, the big puppet, and they do Run to the Hills and 666 Number of the Beast back to back. You're done. You can't come out and go, she got a smile, and they're like, what? This is like a ballad. What's happening?
You know, you're in the jungle. No, actually, we're kind of back in the whatever that we were.
There's only one band. Every musician I've ever asked, there's only one band that can follow any fucking band in the planet. And they're very popular. And they've been popular for a long time with two different lead singers. No, not that.
Two different lead singers.
Very rock and roll. Very Australian. AC/DC is the only band
of course.
I've ever been told could follow Metallica. Could follow the Stones. 2-hour Stones concert. You dim those lights and play. And everyone's like, I don't even know what the Stones are anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's
when Angus come out.
Yeah.
That's my impression of Angus' guitar.
Sorry, it took me like more than just a microsecond.
The ocean of bands. I'm like, go ahead, pick a fish out of the ocean.
No, but you said Australia, 2 singers. I'm like,
you're like Bee Gees. Bee Gees.
Yeah.
It's the fucking Bee Gees, man. Nobody can follow the Bee Gees.
4 singers. Yeah.
They wrote "How Can You Mend a Broken Heart" and sang it like Muppets. Nobody can follow the Bee Gees.
Bee Gees are actually pretty fucking good.
Pretty good writers, but I mean, once you hear Al Green break down "How Can You Mend a Broken Heart," you can't go back over that bridge.
Right.
They're wearing turtlenecks. When I think of younger days.
That's a good point.
So okay, Velvet Revolver. By the time you start touring with them, it's got to be actually fun, like how it was. My theory on life is it's just like the first time you did a reel of coke, the first time you got drunk, the first time you got pussy. You're always chasing the way it felt the first time. Sometimes I come down PCH, I look to my left, and maybe it's because I got new polarized sunglasses. It could be something that stupid, and I'll just see like a palm tree and the ocean right there, and I go, fuck, like this is where I live. And it's the way I felt when I first came out here. And the same thing when you do stand-up, when you have new stuff. So I would guess, maybe foolishly, that as a musician, simply playing bass in a band with all-stars in it, that's that popular, that's drawing, and it seems like that had the potential. I would guess that would have been fun, just fucking fun, how it was supposed to have been all along before all the wheels fell off. VR,
Velvet Revolver, when we, Slash and I and Matt Sorum were asked to do this benefit show down here in LA in 2002, and it was Randy Castillo, the drummer from Ozzy, had passed away, and it was money to raise. It was to raise money for his funeral and like hospital bills. Like, okay, yes, we'll do it.
Ozzy's lost two like of the best at their position.
Yeah, he has.
With Randy Rhoads and Castillo, like
yeah.
It's like losing Cal Ripken and Eddie Murray out of the infield. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of bummed, like fucking Ozzy. Jesus.
Yeah. So we did this show, and it was the first time Slash and I and Matt, the three of us, had played together since like it's 2002, so maybe 94, and it felt so good. Like the first three chords we played together was.
What was the song?
I don't remember, but I just remember we went to this rehearsal place in the Valley, and like amps were there and drums and maybe It's So Easy. Or I forget what song we did. Mama Can and It's So Easy in Paradise City, and
who sang? Did you sing?
Steven Tyler sang. And the guys from.
What's your next wish, Duff?
Yeah, no, it was just like all these people had come together to do the show, and then we committed to do the show. Then everybody was doing the show. Well, Steven said, I want to sing with them. We did Mama Can, and I think he sang Paradise City, and Josh from Buck Cherry sang something with us, and
but you knew right when you played
in 2002. It was like
Matt and Slash. You're like, there's no reason this isn't happening.
Yeah, so we played the gig, and it was
people that aren't here is the reason this isn't happening.
It just felt great.
Yeah.
And I had gone back to Seattle in 93 and got myself sorted out. And then met my wife. She started having kids. I just watched, actually. And then I got into school. I went to Seattle U. Went to business school. And I was playing music up there. I played with Lanigan and played with some guys. But I was going to school. And if you haven't been to school since you were 15, going to Seattle U is no
and
joke.
Just Clean.
I was clean a couple of years. Yeah,
Were you like working a program and then like going also like.
I was doing martial arts was my program, so I was doing that every day, and you know, and we had the babies and going to school, and I was just figuring out how to live again. Like, well, what is this thing? You know, if I'm gonna go to sleep at like 11 p.m. Is that what people do? You know, and wake up when the baby wakes up. That's when you wake up.
Yeah.
But I was playing music, but hadn't really thought about anything else beyond just playing in Seattle and going to school and having little babies. And so 2002, we did the gig, and we went to lunch the next day, the three of us, Slash and Matt and I, and well, maybe we should try to write some songs and see what happens. And one thing led to another. We got Dave Kushner in, play rhythm guitar, and then we looked for a singer. It took us a year, and Weiland was ready to make a big change in his life, like as far as lifestyle-wise went. And this is 2003.
Doesn't seem like a big change, Duff. I'm gonna be honest with you.
He changed for a couple of years. He was.
Because you guys were you guys at that point all kind of pretty much had your acts together?
Yeah.
And it was an understanding, like if you come into this band, like we're not really partying anymore. We're kind of doing karate and reading the big book. Like you're welcome to join us.
Yeah. And that's what he wanted. He and I were friends besides that, and he had wanted to kind of do what I was doing as far as Sensei Benny and like doing martial arts and getting clean. And he had kids, and he wanted to be there as dad. And that was okay. I can help you do that. And the band thing, we started writing songs together, and it just worked. It clicked, and we made that first record, the VR record, and everybody went out and toured and kicked ass. And the chemistry in that band was really good because we were all about 40. We suddenly kind of maybe had something to prove again. We wrote songs out of that really cool place where like these songs got to be great. They can't just be good. They got to be great, you know, and the band's got to be great, not just
They're going to
good.
show up because we were great.
Right.
So let's fuck them up with
we
shit
have to
that is
it.
great.
Yeah.
Right.
And
did Izzy help write any of those songs?
He didn't. He was around, like he was coming around when we first got together, just coming and jamming. He would like show up with a guitar and an amp. And
I heard he's like a gypsy. He just kind of roams the countryside every once in a while and do a session with somebody. tap out.
He's been very comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
Since probably 1990, 91. It's a guy you look at and just, as from another guy's perspective, it's like, fuck, I'm jealous of that guy because he's really just comfortable wherever he's at, in any situation he's at, and he's a good guy. And yeah, he can kind of just, he doesn't have any kids, and he helped raise a girl, his girlfriend's daughter, and he was exceptional at that. But he doesn't really have anything that ties him to any one place.
Is he like a gypsy? I have this beautiful.
Sure.
Ever since the Juju Hounds album, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's just like this magical gypsy. Like Jim Morrison would have thought he was the coolest guy in Laurel Canyon.
He's like also like a centaur. Yeah. No, he is. He's like he is.
I don't think people know that Duff Mckagan was an honor student in high school. So you can do all your rock and roll talk, mister. But at Roosevelt High?
I was an honor student in college. At Roosevelt High, I started playing in rock bands, and
Well, the end.
grades weren't
Yeah, the end. That's it.
or even going to school. I went to an alternative school for like a year and a half of my high school.
Did you get a high school diploma?
I did.
Okay.
I got a GED when I was 18.
But you didn't go up and get your diploma like with your friends in high school.
No, but I did do their.
But I could roll a joint while steering with my knee.
Yes,
So
I
that's
did the commencement address for Roosevelt last spring.
Really?
Yeah, I guess a year ago, just about now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so I did the thing. and
A
it was
cautionary tale turned multimillionaire.
well, I just told him kind of like, I wrote like kind of like one of my columns. I wrote like this
Yeah.
thing, and I read it, and then I kind of dialed it in for a speaking thing, and
I'm going to guess you were more nervous for that than any of your last 100
it's terrifying.
gigs. Yeah.
Terrifying. And
No bass.
huh?
No bass between you and them.
No, there's not.
shields.
But there was a podium.
Yeah, podiums are
there's
good.
a
I use
podium.
them at corporate gigs. And I put little notes on the podium with like their names on it. And they're like, how did you know that Mike in accounting likes to play golf? I'm cheating, you idiots. There's a podium.
There's a podium.
So
Yeah.
you had notes when you did the commencement address.
I
So you
did.
know exactly what I'm
But
talking
they gave me a after I was done, the principal came up and he's like, "Oh, thanks, that was very nice." And then, like the band did "Sweet Child of Mine," like of course. And
That's
like,
badass.
That's cute, guys. And then the guy gave me a leather bound. He goes, "We got something for you, Duff." And there was a high school diploma from Roosevelt. So I finally, after I got out of college, I graduated high school.
Did it say Duff on the diploma or did it say?
Yeah, Duff. It's been my name since I was 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Also, Walking Papers, I only listened to the single Already Dead. I like it's. I don't know how to explain it. It's great. I'll explain it that way.
Yeah, there you go.
It's certainly it's a different gear, but I guess this is the best thing. If I was a musician, I guess this is what I would want to hear.
Yeah.
It's certainly a different gear. I haven't figured out which gear it is yet,
Right.
which makes me keep listening to it. But then every time I listen to it, I hear something I didn't hear the last time.
Right. That's cool. And Already Dead, that song is kind of a toned down song from the whole record.
Real toned down.
Yeah, it's
but
toned down.
oddly metal, oddly, good. And what really struck me is the first lyric, with friends like these, who needs enemies? I'm like, that could be a quarter of everyone Duff has ever known.
Maybe all of us, though.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
I think, not.
I'm just more, guys like you and me, Jay, maybe a bit more public than other
Right, but I
people.
don't depend on 4 other guys and how they feel in their mood every night to make my living.
Yeah.
I just go by myself. Like if it was the Duff Mckagan band
Yeah.
and you could tell everybody go kick rocks, then sure.
Yeah.
But if you're going out on stage, it's like, all right, what is it now?
Yeah.
Izzy left. He doesn't feel like it anymore. Steven and this guy's late and that. All right,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm going to go do Loaded.
Yeah.
And then every band, what is it about bands, Duff, that they just, that when you start, this is what fascinates me about musicians and bands. When you're a band, when you start and it gets going, that incredible joy, the greatest joy in life is to begin. That's the greatest joy in life, is to realize you've really just started something. And when you guys are playing the clubs, and then you get your record deal, you kind of get what you want from the record deal, or else we're not going to do a record deal. You lay the album you want to lay down, and it comes out exactly how, for the most part, how you want it. All of a sudden, boom! Like, you're not opening for shit. You're Guns N' Roses. You're the big, like, that rocket ride. Why can't anybody keep that together? It just seems like, how come no one's figured out the formula for holding on to that initial 4 years of joy and just keeping it together?
I think, I think some bands like the Stones, like, have figured out how, no matter what's going on inside of the band, personality-wise and business-wise, because there's also that layer, which is can be a huge layer. They figured out a way to make it work. I mean, we've heard the stories. They almost broke up in the 80s. They almost broke up again, in the 90s. And but they figured out
separate planes,
all that kind of thing. But they figured out some way. They worked through that thing. And I've been in Guns. We didn't know how to work through it. And we had a couple guys from the original band gone. So there's that. All of a sudden you're a little lopsided, and we're not figuring out stuff like we used to.
Right.
There's, everybody takes their
brain.
plate.
Yeah.
So, but I do look at it kind of the opposite way most people look at it. I'm surprised not surprised, but look how long we lasted, and we produced a lot of songs in that short amount of time, and we played some massive gigs, and maybe that was just supposed to be the way our lot in life, It's
Is it that you're together all the time and just?
We didn't know how. I didn't know how to communicate then.
Right.
Again, I'll speak for myself. Of course, like once I got sober and I was in my 30s, I'm like, oh. If I thought like I do now, then maybe some things would have been different. But you're not. You're 24 when you're 24.
Yeah.
You're 25 when you're 25. You're being a dumbass when you're supposed to be a dumbass. And I know I was a dumbass for.
Plus, you can't gauge, like, when you perform for 80,000 people in another country where they don't speak English and there's tanks in the street. But when you're on stage, everyone knows the words to your English-speaking songs. That head trip, I don't know. Nobody in comedy knows what that is like. But that's amazing. But you can't measure what's inside Axl's head, what's inside Slash's head. Like, some guys, it might make them like sad. Like, did you see the tanks on the street? Some guys might be super celebratory. Like, we're a hit in Japan. This is crazy. So I can't imagine the balancing act of just getting around for like lunch the next day, and just perceived slights must get blown so much.
Yeah.
Like in the Radiohead Meeting People Is Easy documentary, when they're all just sitting on a private jet going from like Hungary to some part of Poland. They're sitting closer together than you and I. No booze, no headphones, no magazines, just five guys just staring straight ahead, miserable. One of them's looking out the window. One guy has a can of Miller beer. And it's like a 3-hour plane ride over like Eastern Europe. And you're like, that's life on the road? This is horrible.
Yeah.
Like they have nothing to say. Small talk is gone. It's like being marooned on an island with somebody.
Yeah.
You can't go like, so what are you doing?
Yeah. You definitely can't escape when you're in a band. So, and not that you should have to think of it like that, but if you start thinking like that, like, I've got no place to go that's just mine. And you throw in, the band was suddenly a huge, massive thing.
The biggest.
And there was a lot of, suddenly we had no employees. We were lucky.
You had Randy.
Huh?
You had Randy.
We had nobody. We just had, and suddenly we went from sort of nobody and then having 2 guitar techs who made more than we made per week. And then coming off of that Appetite tour, we weren't really headlining yet, but we came off that tour and the band blew up. And then we went back out on the road and headlined on Use Your Illusions. I mean, there was that gap. And suddenly we had to go down and make our own stage. Like, where do we go to do that? there's a place, you know, and they're fabricating the stage, and we had end of the first year of that tour, we had like 152 people working for us. So it's a huge leap. And
how many of them did you know by name?
Yeah, I mean, I knew who I had to know, like the guitar techs,
Your guys,
drum tech, and the security guys, the tour managers,
catering.
Catering. Like some of the truck drivers are like, hey, you know. And I did a trick like that a bus driver did to us. This in '87, we had this bus driver. He had driven so many people over the years that he couldn't remember everybody's name, and so he just would call you like Jimmy Joe or Jimmy Johnson, or you know, everybody was Johnson or Jimmy Joe or John or something, some part of J. So I would do that. Hey, Jimmy Joe, I did that trick like not 4 years later.
I'm doing that from now on.
Yeah, Jimmy John.
I'm doing it work
Johnson,
tomorrow.
John. Hey, John.
Jimmy Jams.
Yeah.
Oh, let's give a little love to Stamps.com. You got a small business? Big business? How about just you? Use Stamps.com, and you can be the post office yourself. All your mailing and shipping from your own computer. They're going to send you a digital scale right there. Boom! Stamps.com sends you a digital scale that can calculate automatically exact postage. Stamps.com are the best. I use Stamps.com. And you know what? I have time to do other things like nap and relax. Because I'm not driving around going to the post office. I'm not buying stamps at an ATM like a degenerate. Stamps.com. Use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R, for this special offer. No risk trial. Plus $110 bonus offer that includes the digital scale and up to $55 free postage. That is a lot of letters to Santa Claus, my man. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, type in my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R. That's Stamps.com. Enter Mohr.
Perry Farrell, Axl Rose, Scott Weiland. You come out the same amount of record sales. It's only one band. Hypothetical situation. Whoever you're comfortable playing with, you can only pick one front man.
I mean,
for the long haul. The type of music, the type of personality, the type of crowd, the type of party afterwards, the type of energy. You only get to pick one guy.
Yeah, I mean, nothing without, because they're all three great.
Yeah, they're like upper 1% of frontmen. It's amazing. You've played with like the greatest guys as you go through the who's who in the Duff Mckagan file. It's like, Jesus, Duff.
Yeah.
Let somebody else have some.
I'd say hands down the Axl's by far.
Yeah.
That
would have been my pick.
I mean, Perry's real.
How about you?
And Scott. Huh?
Axl? Yeah. Well, I think we all go Axl on that one.
Yeah, he's a singer too, and he's real, and it's on the surface. And to be in a real rock and roll band, it's got to be just boiling, where you can see it, and he's all of that for sure. And he's the one I came with.
There's your guy. You danced with who brought you.
Yeah.
Is it true you and Axl were in a hotel someplace and you hadn't spoken for like a decade, and you guys were in rooms next to each other?
Yeah.
And
recently.
you went over and knocked on the door?
Yeah.
Oh, this question, by the way, is Jim Florentine, friend of mine, is on this podcast a couple of times. He hosts that metal show on VH1. He goes, you got to ask him about the time he's in a hotel room with Axl.
He asks me that question like every time I see him. Like,
Jim,
you want me to tell you the story again?
Well, I've never heard it, and it fascinates me.
Yeah.
Have you ever told Axl, lose the cornrows?
He doesn't have cornrows.
If you Google search Axl Rose right now, it's cornrows.
I think that was like
and hefty.
That's like his maybe that was his period, like when I told you about all the pictures taken of me in 92, 93, like all the ones you see still. Like,
no, this is after you guys.
Yeah.
Maddie, I think he believes us. Maddie's frantically searching.
Yeah.
Axl Rose.
Yeah.
All right, you got it for yourself.
Yeah, I was going to...
What town was it?
It was in London. So I was with my wife, Susan, and went to the hotel. I had some meetings the next day. And so that night, it was like a Thursday night. We got to the hotel like at 5 in the afternoon. you know, and that was going to be like the chill night. We're going to maybe go to Nobu and get something to eat and then like try to sleep that night. And then I had meetings the next morning. And we're going up the elevator. It's this hotel I stay at all the time. The manager came, met us, you know, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Mckagan. Took the elevator up with us. I didn't think anything weird of it. And he kept asking me, so you're playing tonight? You're playing tonight? No, he booked the room in the hotel where I was going to have the meetings also. So I thought, what's he talking about? No, I'm not playing. And I was a little jet lagged, and he suddenly realized I wasn't playing. He goes, "Is this going to be? We're in the elevator. Is this going to be weird? You're staying in the room next to Axl. They're playing tonight."
Oh, and Axl owns the name.
Right.
So he just books Guns N' Roses.
Right.
You show up in the elevator, and he goes,
thinks,
"Oh, this is a merry day in London. Everybody's here together."
Yeah, he was pretty excited.
Mrs. Mckagan, I presume.
Right.
There's no way she's not taking eyeballs off the streets.
Yeah. So
married up, my friend.
Right. And so that was just, it was one of those things that I kind of figured it would happen at some point when it was supposed to happen, and that was the night it was supposed to happen. And we actually hung out.
Do you go and just knock on the door, or do you call first?
No, I just went and knocked on the door.
And does he answer? Or is it like young Asian boys in kimonos, like he's grooming right now?
I wish I had a good story like that, but no, it was just him.
No, if it's nice, then it is a good story.
Yeah,
I like it if it's just nice that two buddies that started
was
together and had the biggest American band in the world just synced back up. What happened?
I went down to the gig with him that night, and we went down together. I was really at this
Nobu's
point,
out.
Huh?
Nobu's
out, and
you tell Susan like you might as well put on your pajamas.
No, she went with me. The three of us went down together, and by this time I'm like pounding like energy drinks because I should have been in bed. Like I should have been in bed, and I went to the gig, and then he asked, "Will I play?" I haven't played some of these songs since I put down the bass on our last gig in '93. Like "You Could Be Mine," and I'm like, oh crap, there's a bridge, and I know it's coming up. The bridge is coming up, and I can't remember the bridge, and I'm on energy drink, and I should be asleep. And I got a bass in my hand, and there's people.
Just put the bass down.
When I came,
I don't do bridges, man.
I'm good. But I look out in the audience, and people. I wasn't aware of this. I had my head down. I looked up, and people started rising up when I came out on stage. And I think that audience has maybe been waiting for something, right? And I came out, and not that I'm a big deal, but it was suddenly two guys.
You're one of the founding members.
Yeah, so two of the guys were, and I saw people start to cry, and I'm like, oh, this is too heavy for just flying in today, being on too many. I realize I'm on too many energy drinks at that point. I'm like, oh, am I seeing this? I'm looking over the side of the stage, and but I played a couple songs. It was great, and I come over to and Susan's holding my phone. She goes, your phone's going off. Your phone's going off. My BlackBerry's going off. It was like bing, 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 bing. And I look, it was already on like everybody. I was getting, it was everywhere. Like people on YouTube. That's another thing I want to take issue with. Not issue, but these days, when you and I went to shows, and I still do this at shows, but you would go there because how many other times you get to have that hour, 2 hours where it's just you and the band, and it's like you're lost in that moment, right?
Yeah.
Should be. And if you want a Polaroid of the show, it's in your head. If you want a video of that show, it's in your head. It's your memory. It's the way you remember it. So many people now just sit there and look at their little.
They're not looking at you.
2-inch screen.
Yeah, they're looking at the camera. They're looking at you in the camera instead of looking at you 15 feet in front of the camera.
Now, if they want to see the show on YouTube, I'm sure there's 8,000 other people are taking. They could probably just go home and watch the show on YouTube that night.
There's DVDs at the merch table on your way out, man.
Whatever. There's like that. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Yeah.
What are you touring with this new band?
Walking Papers. So we go. I leave Monday for South Africa, and then
South Africa fucking loves our rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like Maiden, Guns. Like you guys could all just tour South Africa.
I've
for the
never
rest of our
been.
lives. Really?
Never been. So then going to do Download in UK, doing some Irish shows, doing like Estonia, Spain, Askina Rock Festival, and that one that I wrote about, where I saw Josh Spencer Blues, and we're playing that one. We're playing some other gigs.
Is anyone going on after you?
Probably a lot of people are going on after us. But I envy them.
You got it. No, just destroy them.
Yeah.
Make your mark.
That's why.
Territorial.
What I meant was I don't envy them. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then we're on the Uproar Festival this summer in America with Alice in Chains and Jane's Addiction.
Jerry Cantrell, I just saw on Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions. He looked and sounded terrific.
Yeah.
He always has.
Their
Lane
record
Staley
came out.
was such the star of the band.
Yeah, that to me that band was always just a band. Like those are 4 guys, man.
Yeah.
That's in the classic sense. Like each guy's his own thing. Sean Kenny, the drummer, is like, what style that guy has as a drummer, and I mean that now with William, their second record came out today with William.
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of bigger than they ever were because they've kind of just kept it real, like their own thing.
But do people know Walking Papers as you and like old, like these are guys that you've always wanted to play with or you have played with a super long time ago?
Yeah.
Do the people, does the people buying tickets to these things, are you also doing like theaters and
we're doing, we're doing our own shows and
are you
in
coming
Europe,
to LA at all?
We're playing,
Everybody hates to play LA.
we're playing on the Uproar thing. We're playing, so probably, where do you play
That's too many dudes.
It's like,
How many heads? It's like a sausage factory, isn't it? It's like 40 bands.
It's probably, it's like 8 bands, and it's the most alternative, quote unquote, of the Uproar Fest that's ever been. So it's probably going to be a bit more mixed. It's
Do you know who else is on it?
Jane's, Alice in Chains.
Oh, that's fantastic. What are you talking about?
Coheed.
That's great, Duff.
I just said that.
No, but you're like, it's kind of more alternative. I thought you were going to say like Flipper.
No.
Tad.
Coheed and Cambria, Danko Jones.
This is awesome.
Yeah, really good
Where in
bands.
LA, where in around, do you know?
There's a great question, which I should know.
All right, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And so, it's our record comes out August 6th, and that Uproar tour starts August 9th. So it's like the best thing you can be on in America right when your record comes out.
Can people pre-order albums the way they pre-order books? Like if you go to Amazon, can you pre-order Walking Papers?
I'll tweet you all that stuff.
They'll do it. These guys are good.
Okay.
They drink the Kool-Aid. They're all here because they like we all like the same stuff. And so
you know what you're talking about too, as far as music. I didn't know.
I wish I could get more musical guests. It's hard. And like on Twitter that night, there's a great photographer, Allison I don't know how to say her last name, Shison. She's a real good rock and roll photographer, and I got to print the Sting jumping in midair off of her, and she just said, she tweeted out of nowhere like, "Man, I would love if Duff Mckagan did."
Oh, was that her who did that?
Yeah, like she's a great photographer. If you ever check out like her stuff on her page, like a rock photographer.
I think I might have met her or know her, or
I don't know. And then I just know her through Twitter, and then emailing because I wanted to buy. I love anybody that's in midair, you know, like the old Townsend stuff and Bob Gruen and Jim Marshall stuff. I love.
They're pretty good.
And she was just like, I would love if Duff Mckagan would do Jam Wars podcast. And then I just retweeted it and wrote, "This is a great idea, Duff, you in?" And then you were like, "Direct message a dude." And I was like, all right. It's like the easiest thing in the world. Like when you get publicists out of the way and when you get everybody out of the way and just let 2 dudes go. And we emailed, we should let the listener know, you and I emailed, I think 11 times today.
Was it?
8?
Well, I did. I CC'd the publicist into it, and then that kind of messed it up, and then you and I just went back direct.
You're like, this doesn't work for me. What works for me? I go, I could do this, I could do that, or we could do one you just do in the valley. We do like this, and you go, well, let's just do it then. That's cool.
Well, no, I assumed you were in the valley somewhere because the last time I saw you were in the valley.
He agreed to do it at like 7 o'clock, and then I told him we were like near lifeguard stand 8, and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. Is that in California?
Yeah. You can tell.
But it did. It took me an hour to get here from Hollywood, leaving at 7.
Really?
Yeah.
50. You were actually a little early. It took you 50 minutes. I don't want you to exaggerate.
Oh, okay. Maybe I left 10 minutes earlier than 7.
Oh, snap. Look at Duff, man. Quick rumor I got to put to bed. Did you put most of your money when you first started making a ton of money into Starbucks stock?
Not most, but I was in Seattle when all those things were happening.
If you were never in a band, could you be living today off of that Starbucks investment?
Just the Starbucks? I'm a diversified guy, you know?
Oh, I know. If you were just a guy.
Depends on how I was living.
Like Sven from the Black Crows, just a for hire guy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably. I mean, when I got my Starbucks stock, right?
Because this is like urban myth. Like out in the street stuff.
I know it is.
Like, he put all his money into Starbucks stock, man. He doesn't even have to play rock and roll. He's a fucking millionaire from coffee, bro. He lived there, dude.
Trust me, I'm me. So I go places that I went on. What's that Donnie Deutsch show? The big
idea.
The big idea. I was doing some things when I was writing for Playboy, the financial column. And so Playboy, I was in New York. They asked if I would do some of the financial shows. So I did like a lot of those Fox shows, and then it's that big idea, right? And I went on the show. It was for Playboy and for the financial thing, and the world was blowing up. It was like 2009, beginning of shit was falling off, you know. And so I go on this show. I'm writing, trying to write.
Who can fix this? Get me the bassist from Guns N' Roses.
Well,
he'll write the shit.
But I was just
kind of Robert Reich. No,
I was kind of the perfect guy because I could assimilate that information and put it into plain English.
Yeah.
This is what this means. Every week, it was a weekly column, so every week some new thing would come up, and okay, here's what this means. And but I went on the show, and the guy goes, major shareholder of Google, Amazon, and Starbucks, Duff Mckagan. I'm like, where the fuck did they get this information? So I had to say I'm not a major shareholder in any of those, but it was timing. I got into Starbucks in '93.
How much per share when you got in?
God, but
if you say you don't remember, you're lying.
But it had doubled and split so many times after.
But what was that first one? How much was it a share, Duff? It's gonna make me crazy.
I want to say that.
Wait, what year was it?
'93.
Oh, so you were paid in full from Appetite. Or for the deal, you get paid for the next album, not the one that was a hit.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I was. It was time for me to figure out how to invest my money.
Wow.
And so, being from Seattle, I was around when Starbucks first started in '70.
Starbucks, or you give all your money to Gary Payton. Those are the rules in
Right,
Seattle.
that's it. And Microsoft, you saw that.
Give it to the glove. Give it to the glove.
The glove would have taken care of me.
He would have taken your money.
No, he's the glove, man. He would have taken care of me. And I got season tickets to the Supersonics, too, in '95.
As you should have, man.
Huh?
Yeah, as you should have.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
What was the first share? '93, what was it?
I want to say it was like $27. But
that even seems high.
It doubled and split like 2 months later. And then it was doubling and splitting, meaning it doubles in price, and then your shares also double.
I'm obsessed with this. Is there a ballpark number you can tell me you put in?
No, I'd rather not, because people do the math, and I've done well.
2 commas?
Huh?
Was there 2 commas?
I mean, I didn't.
Don't answer.
I didn't put all my eggs in one basket, and I.
You and Axel, don't forget it. You and Axel have spoken. You get along. You obviously get along with Slash. Izzy pops in. He kind of does, he hangs out, I guess, with Velvet Revolver. But I'm sure you would welcome him into the fold. I think what confounds people,
What confounds them? Go ahead.
I think what confounds people is, what's holding this up? What's holding this reunion up? It seems like Because the conversation...
The Velvet Revolver reunion you're talking about?
No, silly
The Jane's
goose.
Addiction reunion.
Yes. Why can't
What's holding
you...
it
and what is holding it up? Because here's the big question I ask anybody musically that's ever been on. What band's leaving the most money on the table? And it's always Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. It was Van Halen, and then it always just circles back around to Guns N' Roses. Can you fucking imagine? And that has to. A guy that's on Donnie Deutsch on the Business Report, on the Fox News channel or whatever it is, you got to be going through, laying in bed going, wow, if we just did 3 weeks, took 2 weeks off, then 3 weeks, took 2 weeks off, and then went to Europe and did 3 weeks, took 2 weeks off twice, I would net blank. Like, what is the holdup, Duff Mckagan? Right now, announce when the Guns N' Roses reunion is happening.
But I can honestly tell you, like, money was never a driving factor. Like, it kind of drives me crazy talking about my investments or.
Well,
like,
I just thought it was an urban myth, and I wanted to clear it up.
Right? No, I understand that. And
you invented the pogo stick too, and I think that's very important.
And the
People know
yo-yo,
and the yo-yo,
and the
anything with o sounds in it.
Yeah.
The island, yeah. The country Togo, you're once ambassador to Togo.
What was that whammo thing?
Whammo, Togo, anything. You only live once. YOLO, you created that. You patented that.
I did. Until the guy texted.
Money aside. Because
so money was never a driving factor. Like, music is I think what I've said, like, this whole hour was, it was pure, it was primal, it was this. And that's what it still is to me. And, and I also learned another lesson, like, when I ended up in the hospital in 94, like, okay, wait, I've got to be cool in my own head. And that took me a few years to, like, figure that out. And, so, like, if somebody waved a big check and said, Duff, here's the thing that's going to move you, the money, that would turn me off. I'm not allergic to making money, don't get me wrong. But that wouldn't be, I think, the driving force with Guns. The guys in Guns N' Roses would want to have to get back together before money wouldn't be the driving thing.
Do you guys want to get back together?
I have no idea. Like,
do you want to get back together?
It's not really been in my.
That's a no. I'll tell you why it's a no.
It's not a no. It's and I've thought about it more in the last couple of years than I have in the preceding 15 years.
Yeah. When you talked about plugging in with Slash and with Sorum and that feeling, that visceral thing, don't you go, oh wait, there's only two other parts to this.
Yeah.
We're two human beings away from this just actually happening.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be amazing, awesome,
or is
and a great feeling. So if it was all those things,
yeah.
If that was the things that it magically happened one day in this garage,
or it could be super sad that you're chasing what was and it never really kind of feels that way.
Could be that.
Do you think that sometimes?
I don't. I don't think that, because I know we're all players and we've all gotten better and more fluid, and since we were 20, I would hope so. And
but you can only speak for yourself.
Yeah,
as we've established.
Yeah, I can only speak for myself, and
it's not money driven.
No, but
it's not something you've ever taken off the table.
So I'll kind of couch this. I wouldn't. I would think it would be an amazing thing if we were all in a room and played, and it would be probably killer. To go other steps and okay, let's go.
Hey, you guys want to go to Prague in the wintertime? And then we'll play Sweden in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And then we can play Calgary and Edmonton that one night back to back.
Right. Yeah. We'll
then all of a sudden it gets complicated.
Well, it can, and like in a public forum like this, like the last thing a guy from that band wants to say is like, "Yes, man, I want a reunion," because you don't want to deal with everything else, and
especially in the age of the internet,
and that's just not the. It would have to be.
What if it's as easy as you? I'm not trying to talk you into anything. You know
I'm
that, right?
I'm stumbling a lot too, and there's probably a really easy
I don't think there is. I think just by your response, I think this is so complex. The relationships, and it's not just your relationship with four guys. It's each member of the band's relationship with the other four guys going in the other direction. So you got this turkey shoot of emotion at all times. Like the Slash isn't the Slash that Axl knows. It's like when you have parents and the kids are 5 years apart. Like my sisters are 6 and 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
We have different parents.
Yeah,
People
right.
that raised me didn't raise them.
Right.
My parents were sober. You know what I mean? They got the short end of the stick there, but then there's other weird shit too. Like you have a totally different Matt Sorum than Axl does or Slash does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it seems like it's like super complicated. And then I think to the casual fan listening, they go, "Why can't it just be easy as when you knocked on Axl's door? Because look how easy that was."
Yeah. In a lot of senses, it's really super complicated, something like that.
Yeah.
And then in a lot of ways, it shouldn't be complicated at all because it's just music, and you already have the chemistry. And
it's probably not complicated until lawyers go, "All right, let's sit down and figure out who gets what." And then you go, "No, see, now it's already not fun."
Yeah, that's not fun. Yeah.
We thought you would just tour, and then there would be a pile of money backstage, cut out into 5 spots.
Yeah.
So I really like the new stuff. I can't wait. When can I hear new stuff online or? Because that one single's out there.
Yeah. So there's some stuff we did from the different videos for online portals like Anti-Quiet, right?
Yeah.
Sessions, and we've done, and there's of course there's YouTube from us from like Paris and London and Saarbrücken and wherever else we've played.
But this is a good band. I dig it.
It's a good band and
a good name for a band too.
Yeah. Factoid for you.
Okay.
So we just came back. We were in Europe. Walking Papers were in Europe. We were in the UK. We were doing some press there, and some British guys. Walking Papers, really interesting name for a band. And it's like, well, I don't get what it means though. And it suddenly dawned on us that Walking Papers is a uniquely American term. Doesn't make sense in the other English language over there, and certainly not in Germany or France or Holland.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of explain what Walking Papers.
Oddly, Sudan. They're all over.
Oddly,
and they love puns. People in Sudan.
Strange, yeah.
We're playing Central Africa Music Festival.
The Three Stooges, puns, and Walking Papers.
They dig it a lot.
I didn't know that.
Walking Papers Already Dead. I liked it a lot. With friends like these, who needs enemies?
Yeah.
Guns, Jane's Addiction, Velvet Revolver.
You covered a lot.
You covered a lot, and you were a trooper. And let's not forget the farts. Let's not forget where it all started.
Farts.
With a bunch of people. Like that seemed like a mad scramble to who could get 12 people in a basement fastest. It wasn't like you guys in Seattle were like all battling it out to see who headlined the Paramore or the Beacon Theater.
Yeah.
It was like in a pizzeria in the basement. There's going to be 8 mods down there going like, they're pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, that's about it.
And all the bands that kept it real. This is what, okay, I'm going to leave you with this. And I know I'm not asking you to air anybody out, but I got to get this off my chest.
Yeah.
All the guys from Seattle that kept it real, like Tad and...
Yeah.
They all just seem like fucking dicks. And angry at the guys that made it. And at some point you go, maybe you shouldn't concentrate so much about making music for you. Maybe you should just turn that sundial a little so you can put light out towards where the audience is sitting. And then you can get paid and make a ton of money. And you're also making money making music for you, but you're also making it for them. Don't keep it so real that you keep it to yourself. I guess.
Let's not put
That's
this
on a T-shirt.
Let's not put this on Tad because he's a wonderful man.
Yeah, the Melvins and Flipper and all like the cool bands.
Yeah.
That when you see them interviewed, they seem like Buzz and those guys. They seem kind of pissed off that grunge sort of left town without them, because those were the guys everyone looked up to. Yeah. They were the top. Like if you could get Buzz's attention. Yeah. It was all like you were God. Yeah. Like you were God. Am I right?
Yeah.
Like your friends are like, you talk to Buzz? And then you see Buzz interviewed and you're like, this guy's really angry.
Yeah. I left town and
maybe write Rocket Queen like Duff. That's kind of a fucking great. Talk about a bridge? That's a fucking bridge, my friend.
I left town in '84 and there was all these like guys who were like playing in bands and new bands and And I remember kind of looking around in 88 or so. I'm like, that's that dude. He was like 13 when I left, and it was, like Buzz and all these guys who really like stuck with it, and Soundgarden guys just really crushed it.
Yeah.
And some really good talent. And I don't know about anybody being pissed off about other bands leaving and making it.
I don't think they say it. It's like when you see old Boston comics. Old comics, sometimes they feel like your level of success should be how long you've been doing comedy.
Yeah, right.
It's like, why did he do Letterman? He was 19 years old. It's like, sorry, they asked me to do Letterman.
Yeah.
Not me specifically, but you, bassist that you love, without getting into jazz, because then that would be all,
I don't do that. John Paul Jones, Zeppelin.
Josh Homme, your boy, just sat right there.
Yeah.
It's fucking wax poetic about John Paul Jones.
Amazing. But you'd be remiss to say anything about John Paul Jones without saying something about James Jamerson, who was the Motown guy who played all that stuff where John Paul Jones really took his stuff. And Donald Duck Dunn, the Stax guy from Booker T and the MGs.
Even Stax got involved. Booker T and the MGs. It really is. It seemed like there was a fundamental shift in bass with Entwistle. Maybe not correctly, he got credit for it, but everybody played the stand-up bass. Everybody played the bass over the shoulder like the stand-up bass. And then it seems like guys like John Paul Jones and Entwistle were the first guys to go, I'm playing this like a fucking guitar.
Yeah.
And it was a completely different sound. And Sabbath, who's the bassist for Sabbath? That's a huge...
Geezer Butler.
Oh, Geezer, yeah. Like, that's a real chunky funnel, like War Pigs with Geezer. But you're like, fuck yeah, what is this?
Yeah.
This is great. And then you see the other guys they're just imitating a stand-up bass, but it's just sideways.
Yeah. Geezer Butler just crushed it. Like, there were some of those 70s guys who were amazing. And then, like, Eric Avery from Jane's. He was a guy who really kind of reinvented a lot of melodic. He took from like Joy Division and kind of stuff more in our time.
Yeah, and the two of you have a lot in common. Where there's huge hits on those albums that are so. The minute the bass starts, it's never that way.
Yeah.
It's the minute you hear the Airbox from Joe Perry, you know it's Sweet Emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the minute you hear like dun 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 dun, you know it's So Easy, and that's you. And with Eric Avery, like whether it's Ocean Size or not Ocean Size, Mountain Song, like,
all of it.
Jesus, it's all bass, pause, kaboom, like the bass is the fuse.
Yeah,
you guys, that's really cool. That just dawned on me now.
Yeah,
You're cooler than when you even got here.
And when I was playing those gigs with James, and I had to study, like learn those songs, and the bass, you can't just half learn those bass lines. You have to play them note for note. And I would call Avery. I'm like, hey, man. He said, okay, then I'm playing some. I actually called him first before I even went over to that garage. And I said, hey, they've asked me to come
gentleman
in.
thing to do, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, we came at the same time. But studying his bass lines really, like, eye-opening and made me see the genius. And I already thought he was great, but, like, getting into some of those things intricately.
Is it genius because he goes about it a different way? Is he playing
all of it?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, different way, and at the same time,
first at something.
He just furthered.
All of it, yeah.
He just furthered. He took some John Paul Jones and took some Joy Division, and even like Killing Joke, and put those things together. And the Clash even, and put them all together somehow. Prince is amazing bass player. The first four.
I think Prince is. If I had to make a list of the 6 most underrated musicians while I was on Earth, I got to slot Prince 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
First 4 records, he played everything.
Yeah, but if you ever see him play, Bootsy Collins was on, and I go, and then when you see him play guitar, he's like Jimi Hendrix, and Bootsy was with his wife, his his father-in-law or something, and like an older guy that was in Parliament Funk. I go, he plays like Hendrix. All 4 of them go, easy now.
Oh.
Because they knew Jimmy. They're like, don't be talking trash, white man.
Yeah.
Jimmy's Jimmy. Prince is Prince.
Right.
But Prince is like, bananas great how well he plays.
Yeah. He's cut above everybody.
At everything.
At everything.
And he does like Radiohead covers at Coachella. Mm-hmm. And you're like, wow, I wish they did Creep this way.
Right.
Or like, what did he just do today? We heard Even Flow. He just an acoustic version of Even Flow by Pearl
Did he?
Jam. He did it. I don't know where he did it, but somebody had it on the internet and break. No, it was very electric. But what's amazing was he got rolling on it, and he's doing the lyrics on his guitar. You know,
Wow.
like that old Steve Vai shit
yeah,
where you
yeah.
like do shit
Yeah.
good shit, not
Yeah.
bad. That old Steve Vai shit where you make the guitar talk, and the rest of the band, it's almost like he's playing with high school people.
Yeah.
It's like just so night and day, and that makes you appreciate Jimmy playing with Buddy Miles and all those guys because
yeah.
there was no separation of like Jimmy and then these two guys.
Right.
And now I guess coming full circle, it makes me realize, wow, Guns N' Roses was really fucking great because nobody really was like the guy. You guys were an actual rock and roll band that didn't give a shit and wanted to do it your way, and you did it your way.
Yeah.
And now you're doing it your way.